Hello, Panthers. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Fletcher Newman.
And I'm Isaiah Reyes. Welcome to Panther TV.
On this day in 1904, Wilbur Wright made his first circular flight. Wright, who with his older brother Orville, is credited for inventing the first airplane, made a complete circle in 1 minute and 16 seconds on the Wright Flyer tube.
Weather forecast issued a simple warning as remains to Tropical Storm Imelda pass over Houston on Wednesday. Don't let your guard down yet. Imelda returned a day later, lashing out southeast Texas with a heavy rain, flood wide swaths over Harris and other counties, and bringing devastation as far away as Belmont and Vidor. Governor Greg Abbott issued a disaster declaration for 13 counties, including Harris and Galveston. By late Thursday, authorities had attributed 2 deaths to the storm. Across the region, first responders rescued or evacuated at least 2,100 people. Tens of thousands more lost power, service that may take days to fully restore. Several area school districts announced they will be closed Friday, including Houston, Conroe, Channelview, Fort Bend, Goose Creek, Humboldt Spring, and Stanford.
Multiple shelters has been erected across the greater Houston area by the American Red Cross. The disaster relief organization announced September 19th. The shelters will be available to residents affected by the storm 24 hours a day and at no charge, offering shelter, food, drink, and health service and emotional support, and help reconnecting with loved ones for everyone affected by the storm and unable to return after the flooding. I know a lot of us Panthers like our share of coffee. Here's how Brazil and Vietnam are tightening their grip with the world's coffee. With increased use of mechanicalization and other new technologies, the world's top 2 coffee producers, Brazil and Vietnam, are achieving the productivity that outstrips rivals in places such as Colombia, Central America, and Africa. A plunge in global coffee prices in recent months to their lowest levels in 13 years has begun to trigger a massive shakeout in the market, which only the most efficient producers will thrive, according to coffee traders and analysts. Brazil and Vietnam now produce more than half the world's coffee, coming up from less than a third 20 years ago, and the proportion is rising, U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates show.
Now let's take a look at what's happening at MHS next week.
What school are we currently in right now? Midlothian High School, Midlothian High School, or Midlothian High School? You are correct. That is all.
You heard it right. Next week is Pink Out. Be sure to purchase your shirts during lunches and dress in all pink on Friday to support a great cause. Faith-Filled Friends invites all of you to join them for See You at the Pole. This event is next week, September 25th, in the auditorium starting at 7:45 a.m.
Students who drive, please take note that the parking spots with a blue line across them are reserved for seniors. You will be ticketed for parking in a reserved spot that does not have your name on it. We have so many clubs here that we can be involved in. Our club team wants to highlight each of them. Let's check in with Clark and Riley for club highlights.
Hello, MHS. Welcome to Club News.
We're your hosts, Clark Smith.
And I'm Riley Watson. This year we want to highlight different clubs at our school.
This week we're doing GSA.
I'm the president, so I'm in charge of the whole club, and I make sure everybody's doing what they need to, and I basically decide what we do as a club. During the meeting, I ran the meeting, and I asked people questions on what they wanted to do for the fundraiser, and I basically helped the club organize everything that we want to do throughout the year. Hopefully we'll get bigger and maybe make a little bit of an impact here for LGBT students and make Midlothian a little bit of a safer place to live. The purpose is to make a safe place for students to go where they can talk about their issues and make new friends where they know that they're safe and not judged. I think that it makes them a little bit happier. It makes them feel like they have somewhere to go, and it makes them have a place where they can just be silly and not have to worry about being judged.
This has been this week's Club Highlight.
We have been your hosts, Clark Smith.
And Riley Watson. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Go
Panthers.
Now, let's go to Cole with sports.
MHS varsity Lady Panther volleyball team traveled to Cleburne Tuesday night to take on the Yellow Jackets. The Lady Panthers took the match in 3 straight sets with the scores totaling 25-21, 25-8, and 25-18. The Lady Panthers are now 2-0 in district play and 15-14 overall. They will host a match tonight against McKinney North as a non-district match. Games start at 5 o'clock in the arena. Last night, our JV and freshman football teams played. The JV blue team stepped up to a challenge, but did fall short to the state championship program of Highland Park, 28-35. Touchdowns were scored by Nate Dean, Will Blevins, Dylan Lampkins, and Caden Smith. Defensive key players were Ben Robinson, Chris Asenio, and David Smith. The team travels next week to Burleson. The JV white team brought home a win for the 4th week in a row. They played the Cougars of Arlington Seguin last night. Touchdowns were scored by Willie Tyler Jr. and Landon Wheelis. Hayden Grant also had a great offensive game. Defensive standouts were Xavier Hawkins, Aaron Schrank, and Henry Bumgardner. The undefeated JV white team travels next Thursday to Allen. The freshman blue team remains undefeated after their win at Seguin. Touchdowns were scored by Jed Hope and Carson Bates. Other key offensive players were Ashlyn Garcia and E.J. Milton. The defense was able to compete with their 4th straight shutout. The key players were Cole Martin and Damian Huey. The freshman blue will host Burleson Centennial next week at MISD Stadium. The freshman white team also brought home a win after they traveled to Venus and played the junior varsity team. The Panthers won 28-28 on a late touchdown pass by Avery Cantu to Gavin Grisham. Other key players were Conlon Alexander, Paul Wilson, and Troy Evans. The young Panthers never backed down from the bigger, stronger Bulldogs and showed that if you give your all, good things happen. The Midlothian Panthers varsity football will be at Arlington Seguin tonight at Willie Mon Stadium. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. If you can't make the trip to Arlington, you can listen to it at pantherradio.net. Next week, there will be a varsity tennis match at the brand new tennis complex. The match starts at 4, so walk out right after school gets out and support our tennis team. Volleyball will play away on Tuesday night at Joshua High School. Games start at 6:30. Good luck, ladies. That's all for now. Check back next on Twitter for more sports news. Back to you at the news desk.
Thanks, Colt. And thank you, Panthers, for tuning in to this week's Panther TV. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Midlow Media for up-to-date news and clips.
Go Panthers!